Do you know what? I'm actually going to move these a little bit because they're annoying me on the computer screen. Hi, my name is Latoya Lavelle and today I'm doing a tutorial on how to do professional lighting when you're filming a YouTube video. I'm going to get straight into it. I feel like lighting is such an important aspect when you're doing a video. It can make the difference between your video looking grainy and washed out and horrible to, you know, you looking glowy and nice on camera and looking like that person that everyone actually wants to listen to. Now, I haven't been doing YouTube for forever in the sense of, as you know, if you haven't watched the video, I took a break from social media, or my return to YouTube video, I should say. You'll realise that I've actually been off of YouTube for a little bit, but in the interim I've been working on an online magazine where I go to events all the time and I film people and I interview people and I work with brands and things like that. I worked at Harvey Nichols at an event, I worked at Mansion House, and I've also worked at London Fashion Week where we filmed for a designer, an Atelier brand, which is an amazing feat for me. One of my last jobs before we went into lockdown. Basically, today I wanted to talk to you about lighting because, like I said, lighting is very, very important. Thought you might want to know a little bit of my background as to why I even know any of this stuff. I've done a lot of research on how to explain this to you in a way that hopefully you understand everything that I'm saying. But yeah, we'll get into it. How to set up professional lighting from home. Now, one of the most important things I think when you are lighting is about making sure that your key subject, which would be me in this video, is in the center, or doesn't even need to be in the center, but whatever your key subject is, make sure that it is in focus and that it is lit very well. Now, I predominantly, even though I told you about all that stuff that I do, I predominantly work with food. I go to a lot of restaurant events and things like that and do little videos and promo videos for them. And it's very hard when you're in a restaurant to get the lighting right and things like that. But for a basic YouTube video, it is very simple to do your filming. Now, I would recommend a newer light because the reason I like the newer lights is you can have them warm or you can have them cooling, depending on how you have it. In fact, I should show you a difference in the shot. Basically, this is what it looks like when it's cool lighting. And this is what it looks like when you have warm lighting. Myself personally, I prefer cool lighting, so I'm about to switch right back to that, but it's your preference as to what you want to look like. You could even want to look just really, I like to say like commercial videos where it's just clean and pure, or you can look glowy. I recommend this kind of stuff for more makeup videos if you want your skin to look like tanned and just flawless. But yeah, this is not that kind of video today, so we're going to go back to the white lighting. By the way, I know you can see my Mac behind me and I know you can see I haven't taken the plastic off of it yet. I'm a bit of a person that I really don't want to ruin the screen and I'm a bit of a klutz, so you know, that's staying on there for now. I will remove it one day when I feel ready. Lighting in videos, like I said, is very, very important. For me to have good lighting, I recommend having 3 lights. So that's 1 on top of the camera, below the camera or to the side of the camera, and then 2 at 45-degree angles from the main thing that you are trying to light up. That way you make sure that the person's face is well lit and there's no shadowing or anything like that. I did a video before about natural lighting, and if you don't have professional lights, so you can watch that one as well if you can't afford professional lights right now and you want to start filming at this moment in time. The good thing about the world is we've got the apps like Flat Llama and stuff like that. So if you can't afford to go out and spend, I don't know, £100 on one light, you can always go on Flat Llama and rent. And I think that's when it comes important about how to plan your YouTube videos. Because if you know that you want to do 4 videos, what you might do is spend one day, go and rent the lights for like 20 quid and then film all your videos on that day. So you've got 4 weeks worth of videos, and at least that way you're not taking up too much time, or not too much time, at least that way you're planning your time effectively and you're not spending too much money on renting the lights and then save up for them. That's what I would recommend if you can't afford to go out and buy a light. At a basis, having 1 light is still good enough as long as you put it above the camera or below the camera or to the side of the camera. I usually have mine slightly above eye level because having it slightly above eye level means that your eyes have that nice bright look and that, you know, you just look like you're just glowing, like I said, and all happy. Let me just explain a little bit about lights. So I come from production background where I used to work for a production company and I worked with K-Swiss, we worked with Pixie Lot, we worked with Roll Deep, like some quite big names back when I worked with them. We're talking about 6 or 7 years ago now. I was quite lucky that I learned from electricians and actual like people that did lighting on lights. So the light that you place directly in front of someone is called your key light. That's the one that is putting you in focus and making you look good. And that's the one that you really, like I said, get that light right. every other light doesn't really matter as much for a YouTube video unless you've got all the money in the world to have a professional setup. Then you have your filler lights, which are the two that are at the side. Now, the difference between filming for YouTube videos and filming documentary style videos, so say for instance right now I haven't really focused on making sure anything behind me is lit up properly. However, if I wanted to, then my setup would change, that I would have the key light in front of me, I would have a filler light on either the left or right hand side, and then I would have a backlight that faces from here to here, making sure that like behind me is well lit and there's no shadows behind me as well. As you can see, I've got a massive window behind me. Ordinarily, this kind of window with lighting coming in behind me would cause shadowing on my face, but the fact that I've obviously set up the camera how I've set it up, I shouldn't have any shadow on my face because I've got 3 bright lights that are just glaring into my eyes right now. But we move and we get our work done regardless. Now, lighting outside may affect when you are filming. I watched a YouTube video once about a guy that did professional lighting, and because his video took him like 20 minutes to half an hour, you actually saw the differences in how the lighting behind him changed because of the fact that he was filming with the window to his side. Now, I always film, if I'm filming natural light wise, I will always film with the light in front of me, and then obviously the lighting hopefully stays constant, but always check when a sunset is. I always say if you check sunset, because reality is we live in England and it's not always nice and hot and sunny, so during the summertime, yes, we might not get a sunset till 9 or 10, which means you can bang out videos all day, but winter time, the reality is it goes at like 4 o'clock, at which point you want to make sure that you've got the lighting down so you know. And this is stuff that I used to do in production as well, like when we was going to film outdoor scenes and things like that, one of the first things we used to check was what time does the sun set, because you can kind of work out at that point how long you have for filming. So it might mean you might need to get up a bit earlier, because in winter time the sun might come out at like 6 a.m. and be gone by 4. Summertime you probably got from like 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. to film. So just take that into account. That should also make your video filming easier. If you don't want to have the natural light problem and you have got the professional lights that you can film at home with, one thing that I would definitely recommend is to just close your curtains, or if you've got blinds, close the blinds, just close whatever, block out any unnatural light and just film with the natural light. And in fact, I'm going to show you what it looks like and the difference. So this is me filming now with my curtains closed, so all the light that I've got in this room is controlled lighting and it's just on me. So when you can control your lighting like that, it is amazing. Obviously you can see the reflection of all the lights in the Mac behind me, and you wouldn't usually want that. So what I would have done is set the lights up a bit higher and angled the lights down so that it's, I say that, but you have to do one angled up and one angled down, because if you do the lights angled down too much, you're going to get shadowing on the face. So it's always good to have one light that's concentrated on being angled up and one that's being concentrated on angling down. That way you're lighting your face effectively and then just still having your key light. But sometimes, depending on what you're doing, do you know what, I'm actually going to move these a little bit because they're annoying me on the computer screen. Yeah, that works better. Sometimes what you're doing is you are still making sure that your subject is the main focus on the camera screen, and you're also making sure that your focus is lit up properly. So I think that's very, very important when you are doing a YouTube video, to make sure however you want to do the lighting, whether it be controlled lighting where it's a dark room and you're just recording, or whether you want to do it without controlled lighting and just have like a more natural look to it, that you can see the windows and stuff and the light coming through. Either which way is fine, as long as, like I said, the video is clear and in focus and you're doing what you need to do. I'm going to open the curtains back up again now, just saying. One little tip that I would have for you is leaving your equipment out. If you've got space in your house where it's your studio, like for me, this is my desk where I do all my work at. If you've got somewhere you can leave everything kind of set up so you can just kind of roll in and start filming, I would recommend it. It makes your life so much easier, trust me. There's nothing more annoying than having to spend 10-15 minutes setting up your lighting, and it just kind of takes up some of your time. So if you can leave your equipment set up or have an area that you set up and this is where I'm filming, I would definitely recommend that as a tip. Now, I said before that I would use newer lights if I was you, because I find them really easy to use. They're really bright, they're LEDs, they're amazing. Like, most professionals would recommend newer lights as well. But if you can't afford the newer LEDs, you can also get a newer ring light. A lot of YouTubers and bloggers or vloggers actually like to use ring lights for their photos. You can get amazing photos with ring lights. They like to use them for quite a few different things. I'm just going to sum up this video on my key points for lighting. My first tip was to make sure that if you have any shadowing, try and get rid of as much as possible by making sure your key light is on the main focus of the video and you have 2 filler lights. Now remember, I said you can have your filler lights in 2 different ways, as in you can have a filler light and a backlight, whichever way or direction you want to put them in, but having a key light is the most important thing and will really help you make sure your YouTube videos are lit up very well. My second tip was to pick what kind of mood you want to set with your filming. Now, if you remember earlier, I did the warm lighting versus cool lighting. Again, it's up to you what you want your video to look like. If it's a beauty video, I do recommend it being a little bit more warm because, like I said, it can make you look a little bit more glowy. If it's just something like this where you're doing a tutorial or you're doing a get to know me or something like that, then you might not want to make it look as glowy and just make it look a bit more, this is me, I'm sitting here and I'm telling you a story. Tip number 3, you can rent lights if you cannot afford them, but it just means you have to pre-prep what videos you actually want to do. There is advantages to having your own lighting, that the minute you have a YouTube idea, you can actually do it, but you can also write that idea, leave it for later, write a list of 4 videos you want to do at once and go and rent some lights in the interim and just set up one day for filming, which will keep your savings in check. And obviously, if you can't afford to go out and buy lighting straight away, it will really help you. Tip number 4, keep an eye on the sunset and the natural lighting that are coming into your room, or use controlled lighting. Depending on what video you're filming, if you're finicky like me, you might not want the lighting in the background to change. You might want everything to look exactly the same, in which case, like I said, natural light is great, but using controlled lighting can be better if you don't, or if you're going to film at night time. You can go through all the night if you're going to film with controlled lighting, because the reality is you're not relying on the natural light outside. So that's a personal preference and it depends on how much time you actually have to film. Tip number 5, leave your lights set up, and remember, have your key lights slightly above eye level so it makes your eyes look all sparkly. Leave your lighting set up if you can, just to save time with filming, but if you can't, understandable. My studio is actually in my front room and I don't want to come in my front room and want to sit down and watch TV and my lighting is all set up. We haven't always got a studio in the house, unfortunately, but if you do have one, then that is my recommendation for that. Thank you for watching this video on how to set up lighting for a YouTube video. I will be back next week Tuesday with another tutorial. Next week's topic is going to be knowing your lenses, or what camera lenses to use for what type of filming or photography. If you've got any questions, make sure you hit me up in the DMs, you know, this is not Instagram. If you've got any questions, make sure you hit me up in the comments. I'll try and reply to as much as possible. Or if you do want to DM me, my Instagram is @LatoyaLavelle. This is Tutorial Tuesdays. Thank you for watching this video and I'll see you later.